And 3, 2, 1, and we're live. We're so lucky to have you to choose to continue to have viewed this as like your service to the community. Like some people never look at the world as if they could do something for somebody else. And you've devoted most of your life to trying to support your children, to support your community, to support your family, to try and help everybody else do better. And I just think that that's such a great part of the story.
You know, every day on the way home from school, the boys, well, there wasn't just boys, it was boys and girls. They used to shove me into this prickle bush. And, you know, I would go home and complain to my mom and say, oh my, you know, this is the worst. Like, they're just constantly bullying me, picking on me. Can't we do something about it? Or won't you go and talk to the parents or whatever? And my mom was very loving in many ways, but she really didn't like people who weren't perfectly stick skinny and appeared to have it all together. And, you know, she was a fabulous dresser, and she was just one of these people that was really concerned with appearances. So she would just say, no, you know, if you want to do something about it, lose weight. And I think probably the favorite art piece that we've had in town for me was Pencil Fingers. Goodness, he used to be on my art committee too, and I've forgotten what his actual real name. But the piece at Five Corners.
Yes, that
was temporary.
Yeah,
and it was always meant to be temporary. And when he did it, I just loved it so much that I immediately regretted that it was temporary.
Yeah.
I wish we had put it somewhere where it would still be there. There's lots of course, it's covered up now. There's lots of photographs of it, and, you know, there's lots of opportunity maybe to put something else somewhere. The other one that I love too is the new Vetter Bridge. I think it really embraces, you know, our Indigenous community and the history and the different, like, it was so well thought out. Like David Jimmy, when he, and the artist that he worked with, I mean, the fact that all the paddles represent different groups within our community, and the way that they face even has a meaning. One of the things that makes being a city councillor so much easier, and particularly in Chilliwack, is that we have an amazing team at City Hall. And so they all have their areas that they're responsible for. And when it comes to objectives and measures, which is what we call it, you know, what we need to focus on in the city, they all come with presentations on, you know, how are our roads doing? What equipment do we need to replace? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And they all have their areas of expertise, and they make council aware of what we need. And you know, and they're very, very frugal, because we are, you know, first of all, as a city, we have no debt. We're one of the very few cities that well, if any other cities, we don't have any debt. And that's the way we save and spend. So they don't ask for anything that's not really essential. What the Hospice Society mostly does is that we look after people who are left behind. We look after people before they get so sick that they have to go into hospice care or that they're bedridden. So we deal with palliative patients, and we deal with the bereaved. We deal with little kids, you know, 4 or 5 years old, say, you know, we deal with them from that age right up to 19 or 20. That's sort of our kids group. And, you know, kids will come in and they'll say, you know, maybe their dad has died. And, you know, they'll say, my mom cries all the time. And when my dad died, she stopped loving me. This is hard for me because it's so, you know, it's just so devastating. And we help the kids understand that it's not that mommy doesn't love you anymore. It's that she's so sad and she just wants daddy back. And, you know, so when you don't deal with that stuff, then kids can all of a sudden sort of move away, and it sets them on a path where they can get in trouble and act out and do stupid things and trying to get attention from the person that they really love. So I think that a lot of what we do with the kids group is we prevent those kids from making bad choices emotionally. And, whether it be their relationship at home or not understanding or whatever, right? So that is very, very important work. We also deal with the spouse that was left behind who has never had to balance the books or pay the bills or any of those things, or their entire world was around their spouse, and we get them into groups with people who are going through the same thing, and we teach them things. Like we have a whole educational section that does banking. Right now we're doing advanced care planning with people so that they can decide what they would want at end of life. And it sounds so morbid, but you can do it when you're 20. Like if something were to happen to you, so that your family doesn't have to make those decisions of when to take you off a ventilator and when to do all of these things and what you would want. Am I an organ donor? They don't want to make those decisions because there's so much guilt and remorse involved, right? So we help people make those plans, so it makes it easy on families. I had a friend when I worked at TELUS, Kathy Buchatsky, I can use her name. And we were best friends for, 25 years and so close. And she had hepatitis C. And we worked in all the same departments over the years. Every time we went for a job improvement or a new management job, we both applied to the same area. So we stayed together. And we both worked at Mobility together. And she had hep C, which basically kills your liver. And at that time, there was nothing that you could really take to get rid of it. We were just inseparable, talked to each other every day. So when she died, I totally lost my mind. And I didn't go to the Hospice Society. I chose instead to be very kind of destructive and it was bad for several months. And I worked, I guess, still through that. I took a bunch of time off. But I couldn't talk about her without weeping. I still to this day can't actually drive to her house. Our We're Optimist Club has something that's called Heather's Hope Chest. And we have received donations and we raise money and we do all this kind of stuff. We have a couple of storage lockers in a hidden place in Chilliwack. And we take referrals from all the social service agencies for women who are aging out of care, are escaping abusive relationships, who are basically just trying to get set up, and we arrange for a time. They come and they shop for free. We got engaged, I guess, in October, and then Christmas Eve, I found out I had breast cancer. I spent so much of my life working 2 jobs and sort of doing things for other people that I've sort of come to the point now, like, I mean, this isn't news. Most people know this anyways, but I won't be running for council again.
Yeah.
After 14 years, I've decided that, if I have 5 years of life left, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Then I want to spend that time with my kids and my husband.